December 14, 2024. Durango Dank here. Google search Durango Dank. Check out our music. We do music libraries for movies. We haven't sold one yet, but hopefully we do. Um, how can we assure that AI works for us? Stop listening to Gary. See, Gary Marcus's Taming Silicon Valley. He's uh, he's just regurgitating the same negative, pessimistic sarcasm, unproven skepticism that he never goes and tries to um, see if he's proven right or wrong. And so in his world, he just says it's wrong, and so therefore it is. Then he has these identifiers that we've been identified already, all the little sources, different colleges that tell him he's the #1 AI guy and all this crap, when all he does is represent skepticism. And if you're a skepticism and you're on an NFL team or a pessimist, how long do you think it'll take before you're kicked off that team or kicked off the coaching staff? There's a lot. You just don't hear it, but they're out there. And what Gary doesn't understand is that we've taken his voice latent print. These are the things that he says can't happen. And if he understood voice latent print, artificial intelligence, voice indexing, voice triangulations on the GPS, cell phone tower pings, text messages, emails, MP3, MP4, unexpected MP3, MP4 when the videos and microphone gets turned on by other apps without you knowing it. So there's a lot of stuff. And so when Gary comes out and talks about AI needs to be boycotted, and then comes out and says Genai needs to be boycotted, and he calls AI Typhoid Mary and Orwellian AI, and it's just stupid shit that never makes nothing but money by him and by the other people that support skepticism. But the only ones in skepticism that are making money are those that are promoting it and those that are talking about it. But in the world of IoT, skepticism, you can have skepticism because that's what keeps everybody straight, okay? But when skeptics avoid doing any type of work to see if what they're saying is bullshit or not, until they develop something to show me, we win. By identifiers, the hashtag. We wrote a song called Futureverse, and I create the hashtags, I create the handles, and when you send me an email, you better listen to me. This holds true to a lot of people, especially when you have a Google review and people don't like what you're doing, or even when they don't, they come online, but you can get those taken off if you know how to do it. So when anybody says, oh, you can't call Google, you can't call YouTube, if you have you're not if it's free account. If it's free, why should they pay for your customer service too? That don't make no sense. You go broke. So you got to get premium services. Then you can voice your aggravation and all that other kind of stuff. But in the meantime, when Gary talks about taming Silicon Valley, what happens is AI goes supervised. It goes, wait a second. This guy Gary keeps talking about all these negative things and doomsday, even though he says we're not talking doomsday, but when you're calling it Typhoid Mary and Orwellian AI and AI stupid and all these things that tell me as a non-cognitive scientist, self-taught by Google learning, that you need to raise your knowledge bar. Just like Deepak Chopra came out. See that? Deepak Chopra by Marcus Giovanni, Meta-Human Man, GenAI Authority, Google. Google search that. Now that's a long, everybody goes, oh, who's going to Google search that? But see, it's not who's going to Google search that. because that is connected to some other kind of content that other people will be clicking on. But that's the main identifier as far as a title goes. It stays within the amount of text that can be in a title, and it's called long forming. Okay, so when you do long forming indexing, you're using long titles in your title so that you own all the words. See, if you start small, like everybody did, 1 word, 2 word, 3 word, 4, 5 words, 6 words, 7 words more, all the way, up to 100 characters. So what happens is everybody else is doing that too. So when you do long form, you own all the words in that title, all of them. And then you have different levels of, like if you're just doing YouTube videos, or do you take those videos and you upload them to your website pages, to your assets? Or do you upload them to like what Gary has to do, upload them to various third-party apps, because he doesn't know how to do his own apps. He has a website, but he doesn't know how to work it. He doesn't know how to create content, because everything that he's done is the opposite of what is happening. And so that's why you're seeing all, like those hashtags down there, they mean something, folks. Whether these people want to believe it or not, and when they realize that all these colleges have been indexed by the words that their voices make on their campuses through GPS, cell phone tower pings. When I watched them clean up that one college insurrection, if you will, it was all, they got everybody out of there, but they left everything where it was. That's because they were digitizing that map through digitization. Pictures, overhead shots, gridding, 369 algorithms. But in my world, in the metaverse, you can't just jump to 369 mathematical equations. Even though 369 algorithms are very important, in the metaverse, in my metaverse that I've been working on for 18 years, you have to have a jump place. And that's number one. That's 1369. And the 1369 were the names of the two computers that I named that Facebook had to turn off because it started creating its own language when humans were interfering with the mission that they set forth in their predetermined outcomes of what they were looking for. So when Gary comes out and says, oh, we need to regulate AI, that means that he needs to regulate those things that he doesn't understand and that he deemed fits as something that could cause us harm. And because he talks like that, our AI industry doesn't grow because of guys like Gary and other sarcasmist people that we do need. But we're coming to a point now where it's too much, and it's affecting the conversation flows and actions of other people, that we need to be accountable, but more where they're more responsible and they're able to take care of things and pay for their domain names and pay for their internet services on time. And there's so much stuff. And see, China is already working on they've already launched it in 2020. And every year that we hit January 1, we have some type of a data dump, and it gets bigger and bigger, and people don't know. They just say, God, I can't get a hold of Charlie no more. Whatever happened to him? You try calling him, it goes to voicemail. He's now in the dark web. He's like living a Twilight Zone, where all the apps that he had, and the ones that he don't know he had, and the ones that he has that tells him that he don't know that he has these other apps, and all this Rick and Monroe that's completely discombobulated his whole entire metaverse into the dark web. And when you're trying to call to get people to help you and all this, you just get spinning and spinning and spinning. And see, that's where the Xfinity, Comcast, and all their bullshit commercials, and are you getting low speeds and paying high, and that they've only given me half the speeds on what I should be getting half a bill. And see, but they pay all these politicians to be able to manipulate all the taxpayers, and they've had enough. And this next indexing, folks, believe me, they need everybody to come out of the closet. And when you look at CNN and Fox News and the shitster groups, that they they haven't grown in listening. They stay the same with the same people. So you can't grow. You have, oh yeah, we got 1 million strong. It's the same million people. You haven't grown. So if you're still 1 million people 10 years from now, you haven't done a very good job. And what happens is artificial intelligence will now index the voices and pattern match it and triangulate it with all the GPS, cell phone tower pings, and then all the content that you upload. So if you're telling people that you're doing a story on the Super Bowl, but you're really in your family room and you had accounts where you could just pull off images to where it looked like you were there, and friends that are there sending you pictures and you're uploading it like it's your shots. Well, see, AI knows this now. And then what happens is they go, well, wait a minute. Here's a guy, Giovanni. He's like, this is what the mayor did. He went to the Super Bowl in Las Vegas. I've been going for 4 years now. We cover the outside of the events, the parties. We can tell you the best Super Bowl. We'll tell you the worst Super Bowl. They're all good when you're on the inside. But I'm ADHD chronic, and I go crazy if I had to sit in my seat. I'd have to walk around. And eventually I'd walk around, there's nobody to talk to because they're all sitting there watching the game. So why waste the money to say, look where I was? I was there, but I was talking to the production crews, the TV crews, the VIP drivers, and just all kinds of police and the sheriffs and the Homeland Security police, and just taking names and kicking ass, and giving honor to those people that are on the outside, not there wishing they were in the game and are at the game, and they are at the game, but they're not in the game. So it just depends on where you want to be in the conversations. But what's happening is, like Deepak, he came out and started talking about meta-human man and using your apparatuses, and I'm like, where's he come? I've been talking about this since 2006. Where's he coming up with this shit? Where's Scott or Gary Marcus coming up with his sources in regards to the content that he spews out his pie hole, his black hole? That black hole, your mouth, it either sucks in content that makes people's content go to yours, or it spews out content so that you end up in their circles. And either way, that could be bad or good. Just depends on who's doing the readings. And the readings are what comes up in the images and the videos. And so I used Gary Marcus's voice to everything that he's talking about, and AI told me, stop listening to Gary. Don't send him no more emails. Don't send him no shit because he's using your content. And if we were in court of law, I could prove it. But see, we won't get to that far because, see, Gary bosses and everybody that pays Gary at his schools, New York, Seattle, whatever. See, they didn't get the memo. They didn't realize what the voters wanted. So the more and more they try to keep manipulating AI and put these false martyrs and these false fucking researchers and cognitive science and social psychologies and all these fucking worthless people that have no fucking clue what's coming. And I'm sorry to get talking like that, folks, but I care about my kids and my grandkids, man. And I'll be damned if I'm gonna let fucks like this fuck it up. And I've watched these people, especially Gary. I've seen him content. He's like you can read him like a bad cold. And it's right there. And so when you Google search the Taming Silicon Valley by Durango Dank Genai Authority, I've been doing this for a long time. But because nobody's ever challenged him, because nobody ever knew how to put it in a way to where it would show up as well as when you talk about it. And even though they say, oh, well, no one's going to search that long-ass title, they don't realize that we own every fucking word in that title. That's called label harvesting. So my initials, MG, is just like GM. So when you think about, okay, well, why is they have the same initials. Well, I guess they could write about each other. So when Gary starts to defend himself against stuff he can't build or he understands, All the content I've ever written will start like a China vine. And when you Google search Gary, all you'll see is Durango, Dank, and Marcus Giovanni. And that's why he's the new beta model on the voice that shouldn't talk. So when he talks about um, boycotting Gen AI, we'd all have to stop fucking talking. We'd all have to stop typing. That's it. So if he can figure out a way to do that, okay, see, and the reason why he wants to do that, that means he wants to what? Silence us, suppress us. Only he knows. And when he don't know, then we have to eliminate those things that could offer a more positive outcome to the negative, bullshit, pessimistic content that spews from his pie hole, his dark web pie hole, his, you know what I'm saying? So we haven't even started, folks. See, I let Gary, because every time Gary posts something on the internet, I know. Anybody of any of his identifiers, we know. We learned this by Google. We learned this with other teams. I didn't have to know who those teams were. I already know by the content that I see them at. People know now, especially Gen Zs. They're not going to let guys like Gary Marcus put them in fucking war. We're going to war. We're so close to war to where this war would eliminate everybody from the ages of 38 and under. All those brilliant young minds that know about AI and all the things that I'm talking about in a positive route. And now they're all dead. So now you have the new Gen A, which is the alpha generation. How's that happen? Well, we started over? So what happened to Gen Z? Was that the end? Was that World War Z? So when you got guys like Gary Marcus that are afraid, he is petrified of me. He's in a corner on a blue pillow sucking his thumb. That's what he's doing. And then when he gets out of that going, oh, this ain't getting me nowhere, he goes to the computer and he starts contacting his people to start writing stories about him. Or they read the content, hey, do you see what this guy's doing? Damn, fuck him. Fuck that guy, Gary. You're right, you're God. Fuck him. We'll stop it. So, so that's why we're in a time now to where these people, a lot of them don't have any value for life because they haven't been taught any kind of value. They don't have any morals. Denver Public School just completely fucked up. Bunch of generations of kids, and only the strong ones understood. The ones that were family, God orientated. Most of them on welfare, continued on welfare, so that 20 years from now they're still on welfare, and they never got a chance to get a step up because they didn't have the right DEI qualifications to get to that point. So they're always and so they are the ones that always vote for these people to give them their livelihood. So they sacrifice their freedom, their integrity, their well-being for a fucking debit card to go to McDonald's and get their rents paid and get their phone paid, and all they do is go to McDonald's and get more fat food stuff, go to McDonald's and barely shop at the grocery store, and then when they hit that age of the doctor, hey, you need to go to the doctor, and it gets checked. Man, your cholesterol's through the mid. I feel so depressed, and I don't know. Here, we're going to put you on some antidepressant medicine, and then you're going to take these other high cholesterol pills, and then your blood pressure's up there. God, you're 22 years old. You're going to have to be on this for the rest of your fucking life. Unless you change your habits. Oh, okay. How do I change my habits? Get off the debit card. Get out of McDonald's. Quit eating Burger King. Quit listening to the commercials that are prepping you up in your subliminal conscience that it's okay to be fat and unhealthy because you're taking wow, 2 doses a day on drugs that'll keep you alive. And yet, if you don't know about them and you're allergic to them, but you don't know you're allergic to them until you take them, and then you're dead, and now your parents and everybody's trying to figure out how to get a lawyer to go sue the drug companies, but they aren't at that level yet. You have to wait till you hear the commercials, and then they tell you, hey, is your mom or dad or anybody you know took Skanakanaka and they died? Well, clinical studies show that it was going to happen, but we didn't really have clinical studies until just now, but they went ahead and launched the product, and now all those people are dead. So we got money you deserve.